Hi, I'm Colby Pearce. A central pillar of trauma informed care and practice is the idea that we must respond to the unmet need that is giving rise to the behaviour. The reasons for this idea are at least threefold. Firstly, children express themselves and their needs through their behaviour from the very first moments of life. In fact, we all do. We just do it less and less as we get older and as language gradually replaces expressing ourselves through gesture and behaviour. In fact, it is entirely normal to express ourselves through our actions and emotions. Secondly, children and young people who spent time in an inadequate care environment learned that they need to make a fuss to draw a response to their needs and experience. Their language development can also be restricted, such that they do not always have the words to express themselves. Thirdly, if we don't respond to the need or experience that is giving rise to the behaviour, the child's needs or experiences may continue to be inconsistently or inadequately met, leaving them feeling and believing that they are unworthy of our care, inadequate, and unlovable, and that us, the adults responsible for their care, are uncaring, unresponsive, untrustworthy, and in some instances, unsafe. A little caveat here. Why unsafe? Well, this is because adults who previously inadequately responded to the needs or experience of the child or young person likely also were responsible for or struggled to effectively respond to the child feeling unsafe. In such circumstances, any adult who is subsequently involved in the care of the child or young person may leave them feeling unsafe for the same reasons that we feel nervous or anxious in situations or circumstances where something bad has happened in our life. So, moving on, if we accept the idea that we must respond to the need or experience that gives rise to the behaviour, how do we do this? In my work, I have observed that though adults accept the idea that we must respond to the reason for the behaviour as well as the behaviour, many adults struggle to identify the reason for the behaviour. A consequence of this is that the deeply hurt or troubled child or young person continues to feel misunderstood and inadequately responded to by adults who are involved in their care. In such circumstances, this perpetuates their demanding and or demonstrative behaviour and or their inordinate self-reliance. Consider taking food without permission or gorging on it when it is available. This is a big problem in many households caring for children and young people recovering from a tough start to life. Those involved in the care of these children and young people will often quite rightly say, they can't be hungry. I give them so much to eat. And they do. Many will see this behaviour as something that needs to be managed by making it harder for the child or young person to access food. Unfortunately, this misses the point that the reasons for the behaviour include reassurance that the child has access to food in circumstances where historically this may not have been the case, anticipating rejection and uncertainty about access to food, or even that the child is simply hungry. It follows that successful management of this behaviour of concern does not lie in restricting access to food, but rather making it easier for the child or young person to gain access to food, as well as helping them to experience that conflict and disapproval do not spell the end of a relationship. If you're still with me, that's great. I won't keep you much longer. It would be hard to keep your attention if I went through an exhaustive list of behaviours of concern and the reasons for them and the successful management of them, though I could. Rather, I would refer you to 3 simple reflective questions, which are based on the AAA model, which will help you generate answers to the question of why the child or young person is engaging in the behaviour that they are and what needs to be responded to therapeutically, as well as the behaviour. These questions are, if they could or would, how would the child truthfully describe themselves, other people, and their world? Secondly, what did the child learn about access to needs provision in a historically inconsistently responsive care environment? And thirdly, typically, how fast does their motor run, or how activated is their central nervous system? The answers to these key reflections are often the real reasons why the child or young person approaches life and relationships in the way that they do. You can watch me speak more about these questions in a video that I will put in the top left of this screen. I think it's valuable to also look at a video that I made about verbalizing understanding, which will be in the top right-hand corner of the screen. Finally, remember this: if we don't respond to the reason for the behavior, the deeply hurt and troubled child or young person will struggle to ever fully heal.